many of you have already heard of Trump's new social media network called Truth Social. This is the one that's supposed to be launching maybe in the next month or two. They're not really sure. There were some delays and things like that. But as time is going on, we're actually hearing some new information about the social media platform that may leave a little bit to be desired. But before I get into this video, just a quick reminder to like this video and to subscribe to the channel as well, as it does help me out here. So let's go ahead and jump right into this story. So the new development with Truth Social, Trump's new social media platform, is that it's going to be family friendly. And basically what he's talking about with this announcement that the platform announced is that they're going to censor people. That's really what the actual story is here. So basically this is the statement that they made, the actual Trump Media and Technology Group that's kind of overarching all of this entire platform. They said that they want to make sure that this is a place that is family friendly for the online community. And then they go on and they say they're talking about the fact that this site may be attacked by a lot of left-wing people, that they're expecting a flood of people to come into the platform and try to post a bunch of illegal content as a result of that. Remember, what's illegal is illegal everywhere online, okay? So them putting it specifically on Truth Social does not change anything. If it's illegal on or just illegal material in general, there's no site that you could possibly post it on in the United States at all that would make it legal. Does that make sense? So this has nothing to do specifically with speech in that sense, but they're using that as justification to do other things. So what they're doing is they're actually going to be hiring a firm, a separate company. They're partnering with this company called Hive, which is based in San Francisco. Okay, that's not great. Okay, we're talking about a very liberal city, obviously a liberalized company that they're working with here, but they provide automated solutions through cloud-based artificial intelligence for understanding images, videos, and text content. Hive's technology provides automated content moderation for video, image, text, and audio. So in other words, what that is that basically means that whatever it is that you type onto the site, even if you upload a video or a picture, this AI will be analyzing it, trying to see what it is, and trying to basically censor automatically based off of that. That's the direction that things are going in, and I'll get into that a little bit later in regards to Facebook, but that's what they're trying to do. Now, Devin Nunes is the one that was actually posting about this, but he said Hive has a great track record in this, and they have been good to work with. Now, but basically they said is that they want it to be the most family-friendly site. I don't understand exactly why that's the case, but they went into detail specifically about this and told Fox News that the company's AI model will be used for Truth Social to offer content moderation for posts to ensure sexually explicit content and posts that include violence, bullying, and hate speech and spam never make it to the platform. Okay, now I want to highlight the very end of that statement there, where they're talking about violence, bullying, and hate speech, because all of those things, if any of you know, and all of you probably do if you've been ever censored online or heard about anybody that's been censored on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else, that those terms are extremely subjective. What they consider as hate speech, or what Facebook considers as hate speech, is a lot different than what Twitter may, or maybe what YouTube considers it as, or other sites. That's why there's varying degrees of this stuff, and it changes as well. There is no technical real term for hate speech, because, and that's why we kind of, as free speech people, have to kind of say there is no such thing as hate speech, because ultimately what it is that there's a massive scale, and hate speech is used to explain whatever it is they want it to be. You could think, oh, well, maybe they're just talking about racism. That's actually not it at all. They could consider hate speech as basically saying that somebody didn't win an election, or maybe they did win an election, or something like that. They could consider that as hate speech. Even maybe just saying something like men are men and women are women could be considered as hate speech, because it's hate speech to these LGBT groups or whoever it is. So the point is that these things change. Now, I don't think that necessarily this content would normally be censored in a way with Trump's network that would be against conservatives, but the problem is that the company that they've hired is based in San Francisco, and we have no evidence that this company plans on implementing these rules in a conservative way at all. So that's the concern. They're putting another company that's based in San Francisco to use an automated AI-based censoring program that's going to read all of the messages you post on the platform, be able to look into your pictures, be able to watch your videos, listen to your videos, see what you're doing in the videos to determine whether you are violating any of these subjective things that could change at any given point in time. So this does not bode well for Truth Social at all. And that's why, because these things change. You can't replace one type of censorship and then replace it with another. remember, Trump got removed from YouTube and from Twitter and from Facebook. He should know that these things, the way they censor people is wrong. Why start another social media network that does basically the same thing, and you're not even in control of really what it's doing because you're too lazy to do it, and you've hired another liberal company, I'm assuming based in San Francisco, to basically do all of that work. So at the same day that this was actually announced, just today, Facebook also announced that they are introducing a new supercomputer with their whole Meta thing, which Meta is kind of like their new overarching social media network that they're trying to make to basically homogenize everything together into one massive social media network. And they're just now announcing today that they have created, or at least are starting to make some real headway on this new AI supercomputer that will allow for them to do the same thing that Truth Social is basically doing. It says AI can currently perform tasks like translating text between languages and helping identify potentially harmful content, but developing the next generation of AI will require supercomputers powerful enough of quintillions of operations per second. The point is, everything you do needs to be run through this AI to determine whether it is harmful. And those rules are going to change. The AI's parameters are going to change. And as a result of that, you're going to see more people get banned, more things get censored or shadow banned on these platforms because it's not people that are reviewing them. It's a computer that is reviewing them. And they're not, and these computers are not objective. They're just as biased as the people that made them. That's how the AIs basically work. Now, the kind of last part of this story is actually the reaction of some conservatives, specifically Michael Knowles, to this whole Truth Social censorship. So on his feed, Disclosed TV posted the actual information about Truth Social implementing this auto moderation, this AI moderation of this what they call hate speech. And Michael Knowles chimes in and says that this is good. Actually, that's what he says. Now, the thing is that I've been a defender of Michael Knowles for a long time because he was one of the few people at Daily Wire that actually went against the grain, that didn't kind of fall into this, I'm going to go against or go with the mainstream conservatives on all of this stuff. But I don't think that has transpired, obviously. Of course, that didn't last very long because now he's basically pro-censorship. And to be honest with you, I was really surprised that he didn't pull it down. But when somebody called him out on it and said, confirmed, Michael Knowles is all for big tech censorship, he doubles down on this and says, I'm not for big tech, but I am for censorship. So right there, out and out, Michael Knowles is saying, I'm not in line with the First Amendment. I don't agree with the First Amendment. I think there should be censorship. I just don't think it should be big tech that's determining it because they're the ones that are censoring me. To basically translate all of that, basically what he's saying is, if you censor me, I have a problem with it. I'm going to tell you that you're a totalitarian, you're ruining my life, you're trying to do all this stuff and you should stop it. But it's okay for you to censor other people because that fits for me best. As long as it's not me, you can censor whoever you want. This is no different than the left-wing mindset because we've always, as conservatives, have used this argument against left-wing people. We've said, hey guys, I realize that you're against censorship for the things that you are for this censorship for the things that align with your ideology. But what if you were in our position? What if big tech was against what you were doing? Would you still want things to be censored the same way that you do now, or would you be against it, right? And a lot of them will probably get caught in their hypocrisy and just basically say, well, no, I wouldn't want that to happen. But because they're on the right side with left-wing and big tech, they don't really care. This cannot happen. We shouldn't be trying to create this new Truth Social just to basically have it be another haven of censorship, but because it isn't censoring so many conservatives, is perfectly fine. That's the problem that we're dealing with right here. You have people like Michael Knowles. I know Shapiro's probably on the same boat with this, where they're perfectly fine with censorship just as long as it's not them. And I even chimed in about this because I read his book, Speechless. I actually did read his book on this. I didn't have the best review of it in my own personal opinion of it, but he talks a bit about free speech in this book, and one of the things that he mentioned was that there's no such thing as free speech purism. In other words, nobody can be fully 100% free speech in the sense that there's always going to be things that are just not allowed to be said in certain ways. Like, specifically to say the things that are against the law that aren't covered by the First Amendment, like walking into a movie theater and shouting fire. You can get arrested for that. You have the freedom to say it, of course, but you are going to suffer consequences as a result. You can't claim free or the First Amendment when you do that, okay? Or viable threats against somebody. That can get you arrested. That's not, or inciting violence. Things like that are not covered under the First Amendment. So, but those are still forms of speech. They're just against the law in the United States. I get what he's saying in that sense, but this is not the same thing. We're talking about a website that's basically trying to put out these vague words like violence and hate speech and other things, and using that as a method to say, we're going to have a company that's based in San Francisco automatically censor based off of these anonymous rules of words that don't have any meaning, like hate speech, right? That changes depending on who it is you're talking to. So that's really the problem that I have with this take from Michael Knowles and others that support this, because it doesn't fit with what's actually happening broad spectrum in the United States right now, what actually needs to happen with our social media sites. That's why we have Gab, and there's others that are even better than Truth Social at this point, based off of what we're hearing so far. So unless something changes, we'll see what happens in the next coming month or two as it gets ready to launch. But as of right now, it's not looking very good for Truth Social as things stand. So with that being said, that's all I have for you on this video. I thank you for watching. Just a quick reminder to like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next one.